Right. Well, M3rder, you know, that is Diddy's ex, who's also the mother of his 3 of his children.
Right.
Has detailed the alleged abuse that she suffered at his hands.
Oh, no.
And this is all in a memoir.
Came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Let's dive right into the latest bombshell surrounding Scene Diddy comms, and trust me, this one's a doozy. We're talking secret flash drives, hidden video footage, and explosive allegations that could shake up Hollywood's elite. So what's really going on? Well, it all starts with Courtney Burgess, a longtime acquaintance of Diddy and a key figure in what's quickly becoming one of the most talked about celebrity scandals of the decade. Buckle up because the details are wild.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes. But
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
Courtney Burgess first made headlines when he appeared before a New York grand jury, where he revealed that he possesses multiple flash drives containing some seriously disturbing footage from Diddy's infamous parties. These aren't just any parties either. We're talking about gatherings that have long been the subject of rumors, with whispers of Hollywood's biggest names being involved in questionable activities. And now, thanks to Burgess's testimony, those rumors are starting to feel a whole lot more real. Burgess claims that Diddy's late ex-partner, M3rder, gave him these flash drives before she passed away in 2018, and what's allegedly on them, footage that could implicate some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. According to Burgess, these videos show 8 well-known celebrities, including 6 men and 2 women, engaged in behavior that, let's just say, would not look good under the public spotlight. What makes this even more shocking is that Burgess suggested that 2 or 3 of these individuals might have been minors at the time. Yeah, let that sink in for a second.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Now, before we go any further, let's talk about M3rder. She and Diddy had an on-again, off-again relationship for years, and they shared 3 children together. Porter was a model and actress, but she also had a front-row seat to Diddy's lavish lifestyle. According to Burgess, Porter knew a lot more than she ever let on publicly, and before her passing, she was apparently ready to blow the lid off Diddy's secrets. She even wrote a memoir, an unpublished one, by the way, called Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. This book reportedly contains all the details about her time with Diddy, the things she witnessed, and, according to Burgess, her fears for her own safety. So, why haven't we heard more about this book? Well, it was briefly available on Amazon before it was pulled, allegedly due to pressure from none other than Diddy's children. That's right, Porter's kids reportedly didn't want this book out in the world, which raises even more questions. What exactly was in it, and why were Diddy's children so keen on keeping it under wraps? Burgess claims he has a copy of this manuscript, and it's just as damning as the video footage he's holding onto. The manuscript supposedly details everything, from physical altercations to emotional manipulation, painting a picture of Diddy that's far from the charming public persona he's cultivated over the years.
You know what I'm saying? Just with this Cassie thing, I didn't know her, but I knew somebody like her, and that was M3rder. I didn't know Cassie, but I knew somebody who was going through the same thing she was going through, and that was M3rder.
But let's get back to those flash drives. Burgess testified that these videos were taken at Diddy's homes, and here's the kicker. The people in the videos reportedly had no idea they were being recorded. That's right, hidden cameras in Diddy's properties allegedly captured all of this footage without the knowledge or consent of the individuals involved. If true, this could be a massive legal issue, not just for Diddy, but for anyone else who appears in these tapes. We're talking about potential violations of privacy laws, and if minors are involved, the legal stakes get even higher. Burgess claims that these tapes show celebrities engaging in some pretty wild behavior, and while he hasn't named any names publicly, his attorney, Ariel Mitchell, has hinted that the people in these videos are some of the biggest stars in the world. One of them is reportedly even more high profile than Diddy himself, which is really saying something. Can you imagine the fallout if these tapes were to be made public? Hollywood would be rocked to its core.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. all of a sudden he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
But here's where things get even more interesting. Burgess has dropped some serious hints that Kim Porter's demise might not have been as straightforward as it seemed. Officially, she passed away from pneumonia, but Burgess isn't convinced. He's implied that Porter was afraid for her life in the months leading up to her passing and that she believed she knew too much. According to Burgess, Porter had been gathering evidence for years, documenting Diddy's alleged wrongdoings, and she was preparing to go public with it all when she suddenly fell ill. Is it possible that someone wanted to stop her from revealing what she knew? That's the question on everyone's mind right now. Now, let's be clear, there's no concrete proof that Porter's demise was anything but a tragic case of pneumonia, but the timing, combined with Burgess's testimony, has raised more than a few eyebrows. If Porter truly was planning to release this damning information, it's not hard to see why some people might be suspicious about the circumstances surrounding her demise. After all, Diddy is a powerful man with a lot of connections, both in Hollywood and beyond. Could those connections have been used to keep Porter quiet? It's a theory that's gaining traction, especially as more details emerge from Burgess's testimony.
What Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
Speaking of testimony, Burgess's appearance in front of the grand jury is just the beginning. The grand jury is now tasked with deciding whether the contents of these flash drives are admissible in court, and if they are, it could spell serious trouble for Diddy. Legal experts are already weighing in, with many suggesting that if these tapes are allowed as evidence, they could significantly strengthen the prosecution's case against Diddy. The videos reportedly show not just illegal activities, but also the involvement of individuals who were unaware they were being recorded, which could lead to additional charges. And let's not forget about the other people who appear in these videos. If Burgess's claims are true, we're looking at a potential Hollywood scandal of epic proportions. Imagine the fallout if some of the biggest names in entertainment are revealed to have been involved in these activities. Careers could be ruined, reputations destroyed, and legal battles could drag on for years. It's no wonder that so many people are on edge right now, waiting to see what happens next.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
But what does all of this mean for Diddy himself? Well, his legal team is already in damage control mode, denying all of the allegations and claiming that Burgess is simply trying to smear Diddy's name. They've painted Burgess as a disgruntled former friend who's looking for his 15 minutes of fame. But the problem is that Burgess's story is starting to gain traction. The more he talks, the more people are starting to believe that there might be some truth to his claims. And let's not forget that this isn't the first time Diddy has found himself in hot water. Over the years, he's faced numerous legal challenges, including accusations of misconduct and violence. While he's managed to beat the charges in the past, this time feels different. The sheer volume of evidence that Burgess is claiming to have, combined with the high-profile nature of the individuals involved, makes this case unlike anything Diddy has faced before.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily so, I guess, right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
What's more, Diddy's legal team has been hit with its own set of challenges. He's already lost a second lawyer in this case, which is never a good sign. Legal experts are speculating that the lawyer's departure could be a sign of bigger problems behind the scenes, possibly related to the mounting evidence against Diddy. Losing a lawyer at this stage of the game is a major setback, and it could be a sign that even Diddy's own team is starting to feel the pressure. So, what happens next? Well, the grand jury will continue to review the evidence, and if they decide that the tapes are admissible, we could be looking at one of the biggest celebrity trials in recent history. The trial is currently set for May 2025, but with new evidence coming to light and the possibility of additional charges being filed, that date could be pushed back. Either way, this is a case that's going to keep making headlines for a long time to come.
Civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
As we wait to see how things play out, one thing is clear. The revelations from Courtney Burgess have turned this case into a full-blown scandal, and the fallout is just beginning. Hollywood is on edge, and Diddy's future hangs in the balance. Will these tapes be the smoking gun that takes him down, or will he find a way to beat the charges once again? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This is a story that's far from over. And speaking of things being far from over, the implications of this case go way beyond Diddy himself. If the footage on those flash drives is as explosive as Burgess claims, we could be looking at a domino effect that brings down some of the biggest names in Hollywood. The question now is, who else might be caught in the crossfire? Stay tuned, because the next chapter in this saga is going to be one for the ages.
That he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on side watch.
So if you thought things couldn't get any wilder, just wait. We've already covered how Courtney Burgess exposed what's possibly the most damaging evidence Diddy has ever faced, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. What's even crazier is that these tapes, if they exist, don't just implicate Diddy. We're talking about a whole web of celebrities, some of the most powerful names in Hollywood, who could be dragged into the spotlight because of this. Let's take a step back and talk about Diddy's infamous parties for a moment. These weren't just your average A-list events where people sip champagne and schmooze. These parties were the stuff of legend. We're talking about secretive, invitation-only gatherings where anything, and I mean anything, was possible. In the world of celebrity, Diddy's parties were like the golden ticket. If you got an invite, you were in. But with the latest allegations, it looks like being on the guest list might not be the bragging right people thought it was.
Individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
For years, rumors have floated around about what really went down at these events. There were always whispers, but the details were usually kept under wraps. Why? Because nobody wanted to cross Diddy. Nobody wanted to cross Diddy. He's not just a music mogul, he's a powerhouse in entertainment. He's been at the top of the game for decades, and with that much influence, people tend to stay quiet. But now, with Burgess's testimony, those rumors are starting to take on a new life. Because if the footage on those flash drives is as explosive as it sounds, we're about to find out exactly what went down behind closed doors. And here's the thing, Burgess didn't just drop a bombshell about Diddy. He hinted that some of the people caught on tape are even bigger than Diddy himself. Just let that sink in for a second. If Diddy isn't the biggest name involved, then who is? We're talking about people who are household names, stars who are practically untouchable in Hollywood. These are the kinds of people who have built their careers on spotless public images. And if they're caught up in this mess, it's going to be a PR nightmare unlike anything we've ever seen.
Done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
So, who could these mystery celebrities be? Well, Burgess hasn't named names yet, but that hasn't stopped the speculation from running wild. There's been talk of actors, musicians, and even a few well-known producers who are regulars at these parties. Whether these are just rumors or there's some truth to them, one thing's for sure. Hollywood is holding its breath, waiting to see who gets exposed next. And with Burgess promising that the tapes don't just show wild behavior, but also hint at illegal activities, the stakes are incredibly high. Now, let's not forget that Diddy's parties were more than just star-studded affairs. They were showcases of wealth, power, and influence. If you were lucky enough to attend, you knew you were in the inner circle. But here's the thing, the darker side of these events is what people are starting to focus on. According to some insiders, these parties were also places where people could indulge in activities that they wouldn't dare do in public. And if those activities were secretly being recorded, well, you can imagine the damage that could cause.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
And it's not just about reputations getting ruined. If what Burgess says is true, some of the people involved might have even been unaware they were being filmed. Think about it, hidden cameras catching these stars in moments they thought were private. We're talking about a huge invasion of privacy here. And if these tapes were ever leaked or used as evidence in court, it could open the door to all kinds of legal battles. Celebrities who were once untouchable could find themselves scrambling to protect their names, their careers, and their fortunes. But it doesn't end there. Burgess's claims have reignited an even older rumor, that Diddy wasn't just recording these parties for fun. Some believe that he may have kept these tapes as leverage, using them to maintain control over people in his circle. If that's true, it would explain a lot. It would explain why so many people stayed quiet for so long, even as rumors swirled about what went on at these events. If Diddy had dirt on some of the most powerful people in Hollywood, it would give him a level of influence that few could match.
We're not done, and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
And let's be real. Diddy has always been a master at playing the game. He's built an empire on his ability to stay ahead of the curve, whether it's in music, fashion, or television. But now, with the possibility that these tapes exist, it looks like his empire might be crumbling. Because no matter how powerful you are, there's no coming back from being exposed like this. If these tapes go public, Diddy won't just be fighting to stay out of jail, he'll be fighting to salvage whatever's left of his legacy. What's more, the fallout from these revelations could go beyond Diddy and the stars involved. This could have massive implications for Hollywood as a whole. We've seen scandals before, big ones too, but this could be the one that changes everything. It could force the industry to take a long, hard look at itself and address the toxic culture that's allowed people like Diddy to stay in power for so long. If the tapes show what Burgess claims they do, it's not just careers that are on the line, it's the entire way Hollywood does business.
Some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week.
But what about the celebrities who might be caught in the crossfire? How are they reacting to all of this? Well, so far, most of them have stayed silent, which isn't surprising. Nobody wants to be the first to speak up and risk drawing attention to themselves. But behind the scenes, you can bet that people are scrambling to figure out how to distance themselves from Diddy and his parties. And with good reason. If their names come out in connection to this, it could be game over for their careers. One name that's been thrown around a lot lately is that of a certain A-list actor who was reportedly a regular at Diddy's events. Now, we don't know for sure if this person is on the tapes, but if they are, it would be a shock to the system. This actor has built their career on being squeaky clean, the kind of star who can do no wrong in the eyes of the public. But if it turns out they were involved in parties and caught on camera doing things they shouldn't have been, their image could be shattered in an instant.
You know, he get the trafficking because he took her to different states and had her perform acts with different, male prostitutes and different people, sometimes against her will.
And it's not just actors. There are whispers of musicians too, some of the biggest names in the industry who could be caught up in this scandal. These are people who've sold millions of albums, won countless awards, and have fan bases that span the globe. If even one of them is exposed, it could send shockwaves through the music industry. Fans who've looked up to these stars for years could suddenly find themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about their idols.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
Then there's the question of what happens next for the people around Diddy, his friends, his collaborators, and even his family. Will they stand by him and continue to defend him, or will they start to distance themselves as the evidence piles up? So far, Diddy's legal team has been adamant that these allegations are nothing more than a smear campaign. But with Burgess's testimony gaining traction, it's getting harder and harder to dismiss the claims as baseless. And let's not forget about the legal side of things. If these tapes are accepted as evidence, it could open the door to a whole new set of charges, not just for Diddy, but for anyone else who appears on them. We're talking about potential lawsuits, criminal investigations, and even jail time for some of the people involved. It's a nightmare scenario for anyone who's caught up in this mess, and it's only going to get worse as more details come to light.
But that's Kim's story. That's Kim's book. That's Kim's book. Then you hear about the fact that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht?
Wow, I ain't hear about that.
So, what does all of this mean for Diddy? Well, it's clear that he's facing the fight of his life. He's already lost 2 lawyers, which is never a good sign, and now he's up against a grand jury that's reviewing evidence that could turn his world upside down. If the tapes are admitted as evidence, it could be game over for him. Even if he manages to avoid jail time, his reputation will be in tatters, and his career might never recover. But it's not just Diddy who's at risk here. The entire entertainment industry could feel the effects of this scandal for years to come. Hollywood has always been a place where secrets are kept, and people in power often get away with things that would ruin anyone else. But if these tapes come out, it could force a reckoning that's been a long time coming. The days of looking the other way might finally be over, and the people who've stayed silent for so long could find themselves facing consequences they never imagined.
Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued like we talked about prior to.
As we wait to see what happens next, one thing is certain. This story isn't going away anytime soon. The grand jury is still reviewing the evidence, and with the trial set for May 2025, there's plenty of time for even more shocking revelations to come to light. Hollywood is on edge, and Diddy's future, and the futures of some of the biggest stars in the world, hangs in the balance. And the biggest question of all, if these tapes really do exist, how long before they're made public? Because once that happens, there's no turning back. The world will finally see what's been hidden for so long, and the consequences are going to be massive. So what do you think? Could this be the scandal that finally brings down Diddy and some of Hollywood's biggest names? Or is there more to the story that we still don't know? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest updates on this unfolding drama.